So I've been thinking a lot recently about this idea of solitude and why I enjoy spending time alone. Now, this is not something that I solely like to do. I still enjoy the company of others, like my family and friends, coworkers, and other people that I meet in society. But I've realized more and more that I get all of my best work and I get all my best ideas and thoughts out whenever I'm alone. I'm starting to think that the power of learning how to be alone is almost as if it's some type of superpower. Now, I know that unfortunately the word solitude kind of gets mixed up with loneliness, and that people who enjoy being alone, or that people that don't have many friends, end up being lonely. But I don't necessarily think that's true. I think that you can enjoy your alone time and you can enjoy your social interactions as well. And all of this started to come together for me when I started to take my alone time a lot more seriously. And I was focusing in on the things that I enjoy to do. My writing got better whenever I was alone. I thought of my best video ideas and creative ideas when I was alone. And even exercising was something that I relished to do when I was alone. Especially with the recent pandemic, I think a lot of people are forced into this isolation mode. You're kind of stuck at home alone with your thoughts, and many people are not used to this. Now, for myself personally, I consider myself moderately introverted, and this is something that I've always flourished in. I've always enjoyed having time alone. I've always enjoyed spending time with my own thoughts and thinking things through. What I really started to notice through the whole pandemic and isolation was that I can think all kinds of crazy different thoughts day after day, but if I never wrote them down on paper or recorded them in a video or told them to a friend or family member, that they never became real. And you can kind of just think your thoughts day in and day out, and they never accumulate to anything. Whenever I spent time alone, I would try to think of ideas and think of things in this world and life that give me meaning and things that I love to do. And then I would just write them down or take a moment and think deeply about them. I think being alone gives you the opportunity to reflect and figure out what type of person you really are. Of course, there are a lot of ideas that I am open-minded about, I think deeply about, and I consider myself a free thinker. But there are some concepts that came up where I was like, do I really support that? Or do I really believe in this? And it's not until you give that moment some self-reflection that you can kind of work those things through in your mind and figure out what's important and what you can discard and what is just useless. Another thing that I really learned about myself through isolation and being alone was that I don't always have to be stimulated by people and company 24/7. You know, there are a lot of times where I do like to go out and socialize and, do things in the real world. But at the same time, it doesn't have to be every day. It doesn't have to be every hour or every week or every moment, right? And I kind of like that. I'm not entirely sure what I'm getting at, but as the years have gone by and I've got older and older, I've noticed that I enjoy my times alone more and more. It's almost as if it gives my mind a total refresh. It just gives me a blank slate on life, and I can kind of think through all these ideas and goals that I have in the world. It's almost as if I achieve a state of peace. Obviously, this doesn't apply to everybody, but I do think there is this inherent value with learning how to be alone and control your emotions and your mind, because there is this thing that happened in the world where this idea of boredom doesn't exist anymore. The idea of being bored has been destroyed, and it's been destroyed by our smartphones and technology, because if you think about it, there's never a dull moment in the day. You can always just pull out your phone and look at some type of news feed on social media, message from a friend, video on YouTube or a game that you want to play. There's always access to stimulation. And this has just destroyed this whole idea of boredom. But if you can find the will and find the way to just put the phone down, lock the stimulation away, and give yourself a chance to be alone with your thoughts, then I think this is where your best moments of self-reflection will arise, and you will really learn what type of person you are. These moments of reflection have been huge for me, not just in terms of content creation and getting my ideas out of my head, but also just giving myself a chance to learn things like meditation. And I know that meditation kind of sounds like something that everyone has tried or everyone knows about. And we all kind of do it for a week or two, and then the habit sort of falls off because it's an extremely difficult discipline to follow through with every single day. And I've been making a concerted effort to use my alone time to get better at meditation. There was this great quote that I heard once from a French philosopher, Blaise Pascal, and he said that all of humanity's problems arise from man's inability to sit alone quietly in a room. And this almost blew me away, because I always thought that how hard would it be to just sit alone in a room with your thoughts? Like, how hard could that possibly be? But when you try things out like meditation or self-reflection, when you are alone with just you and there's no outside influences, it can get really difficult. So if you are someone that is still searching for purpose, fulfillment, and meaning in your life, maybe all you need is to take a moment and spend some time with yourself. Take a moment of solitude where you can just be alone and work out the things in this life that bring you joy. What makes you happy? What do you want to do? These are these existential questions that so many of us struggle with. And if you never take a moment to stop and think about them, then you're never going to arrive at those answers. And even for me right now, I'm taking a moment out in nature by myself, just taking in all the sights and sounds, and kind of working through these own thoughts in my mind that I have. I am nowhere near a perfect person, nor do I believe I am always right. No, I make tons of mistakes. I'm constantly wrong. I'm constantly reevaluating myself and finding ways I can be better, finding ways I can be more kind and compassionate. And that's what I get out of these moments of being alone. This ended up being a great moment where I could just get all of my thoughts and ideas out. And I just feel calm in my mind. Now, I've probably overwhelmed my stay as these animals are chirping and going crazy over here. But I don't know, this was something that I really needed, something that just let me, relax and work through some thoughts and things that I was struggling with. And I think the only way to do this is kind of just work through them internally with yourself. So I don't know if I'm going to post this or release this, but if I do, and you're watching this, hopefully this helped you in some way. And I'll see you guys next time.